Let's talk about being a prisoner to the moment, right? It's a phrase that we throw around a lot, but what does it actually mean? It means when you can't see past the immediate circumstances of a situation because you're so wrapped into the immediate result right now, right? And in sports, a lot of sports talk and a lot of sports fandom is kind of built around being a prisoner in a moment. If you're a fan of a team, you're going to react very harshly to what happens on the field, and you're going to make very harsh determinations based on that. But when it comes time to discuss them, we need to be able to see outside being in that moment, right? And sometimes it's very helpful. Sometimes what's obvious is obvious, right? I'm not somebody who falls victim to falling prisoner of the moment often. It's happened before. I'm not immune to it. But I tend to be able to see things further out than further in. And that has caused me issues where I can't see something as obvious because I'm looking down the road, where somebody else who might be panicking might see some things a little bit earlier. So they both have merit. But when it comes to this DeShaun Watson thing, right? When it comes to people's takes about DeShaun Watson, it is important to remember that a ton of people are going to become prisoner of the moment. Now, not everybody watched the Browns game. And I'm not blaming everybody for not watching that game. It was a game between the Browns and the Saints. Who was checking for it? Nobody was. But boy, oh boy, the reactions after the stat line came out were certainly of those who what was like it. The game was on national TV. Now, either one of two things happened. Either the Browns set the NFL League Pass record for most games viewed out of network, or people didn't watch the game. They looked on the stat sheet and they made a wild determination based on that. I have one rule when it comes to football. You cannot read about football. You have to watch it, right? Reading is supplementary to everything else, right? You can bring up stats. You can bring up everything else, but you have to have watched enough of a game or enough of a team to have a basic gist of what happened in that game. Straight up. Like, you have to have that, because if you're just talking about stats, you're not talking about the game. You're talking about numbers, and numbers don't play football. People do. Like, you got to watch the games. You cannot read football. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. It is a sport meant to be viewed by spectators. That is the complete purpose of it, is a spectator sport. Has no other functional purpose other than being some entertainment for people to watch. So trying to read it makes absolutely no sense. But time and time again, whenever DeShaun Watson does not throw over 200 yards, people are going to act like it's a bad game. Whenever he does, people are going to act like he stat padded at the end. It is what it is, right? Unless he puts together, and look, here's what's going to happen, right? For all my people out here who are arguing because people are being wildly unfair about what they're not seeing, is here's what's going to happen, man. People are going to dunk on DeShaun right now when they can. If DeShaun has a good game next week and he finishes out the next two games really good, they're not going to say nothing about it, straight up. And they're going to act all summer as if DeShaun was just as bad as Russell Wilson, unless he has like a crazy touchdown, like unless he throws like 10 touchdowns in the next two games. They're going to talk about him as if he's as bad as Russell Wilson. That's not the truth. He was never even close to being as bad as Russ is right now. But people are going to talk about him like that. That is what it is. And then by this time next year, they'll be voting for him for comeback player of the year or something goofy like that, right? Because this is how these media narratives go. They push in one direction. They push and push and push until stuff makes no sense anymore. And then once they have no more room to push, they bring it on back and start that redemption arc. This is how it goes. They do this with everybody, and they're willing to do this with everybody. Don't think DeShaun is like some outlier. But let's talk about the actual game. Now, this first, I'm going to go through, I think, 11 plays in that last drive entirely to talk about this game. So these are going to be, 11 passes, I believe, by DeShaun to see what kind of a performance he gave in. Now, what I like to do sometimes, right, and this is early in the game, He throws this fade to DPJ. I think this is actually late in the game. He throws this fade to DPJ. And I think this is a good ball. I think the wind just takes this one. All right. So this is a read option. He drops back. And this is a great throw, right? Like, I know people are going to make their cut-ups, but, like, look at the levels that this throw had to go through, right? He has to fit this ball through DeMario Davis, past this corner, and in just perfect throw. And what is this? This is on 3rd and long. It's a great clutch throw. Right, we're going to see this from this end zone angle, I think. You're going to see here, cold as sin. At least the wind's moving in his direction. And it just allows him to make this great throw. Look at this throw. Everywhere where it needs to be. Look at this ball trajectory. I mean, that's a dot. Clean. Right here, he drops back, gets on top of his step. And then another just beautiful. Look at this throw. Look at this throw. Look at the window. Like butter. He made throws like this consistently in this game in 35-mile-per-hour winds and sub-zero temperatures. People are going to lie to you and tell you he played bad in this game, y'all. Russ ain't made a throw like that all year. Look at that wind. The wind's actually going the opposite direction now. You see it's blowing against him. You can look at the referee's pant legs, right? So this wind is going, I believe, in this direction, right? So the wind is blowing this way against him, which means he has to make this throw against the wind in that tight window. Nobody's going to bring up that all week. Nobody's going to bring up these throws. Here, he drops back. What happens here? Oh, this is a drop, right? He does a great job of helping his blockers stay in here without rolling out of his angle. This is a vet move, right? Just stay happy, feet in the pocket. Happy, clean. Wait till something develops downfield. They're only rushing 4. We got this, right? No need to rush. No need to rush. He has Amari Cooper who pops wide open right here. He has to clear one lane. You could say he could have tucked it and ran it, but you're supposed to throw this. You're a quarterback, right? Like, throw the touchdown. And Coop drops it. Just straight drops it. Slips, falls. I mean, even him slipping and falling isn't really an excuse for dropping this ball because he's already going to the ground, right? He's about to slide and trap this like he did earlier. And then he just drops it. Like, he didn't even slip and fall. He just dropped it. See what happens here. Oh, this is a ball that got intercepted. He throws this one. This one's on time, on target. And David Bell lets this thing pop up on his shoulder pads and it gets intercepted. Again, we know all interceptions aren't on the quarterback. Sometimes you throw a lot of TWPs, turnover-worthy plays, and one just comes up and gets you. That was definitely not the case here. This is an overthrown ball by DeShaun Watson, right? He has a clean pocket. And what happens here is I think the wind carried this. So in this situation, I think the wind was actually blowing behind his back towards the end zone, which meant that ball is going to carry a little bit more. One of the things DeShaun's going to have to adjust to is the conditions, right? Playing in the conditions a lot. Now, he has shown that he can play in these conditions just basically. But this one, the ball kind of traveled further out than he expected, got more of a jump on it. And what usually would be a completed catch and a touchdown ends up being an overthrown ball. This right here, they did his own read option here. And then I think he scored on one earlier, which was a really good play. But this was a great run here. I mean, you can only, like, as much as that's going to be successful, the truth is, right, you can only run so many of these during the course of a game. And when I say only run so many, you can really only run like 2 or 3 of them. You can't call that play for him to keep it 6 or 7 times, especially when he's paid. You know what I mean? And the reason that changes when he's paid is because you don't have the resources to make up for a quarterback going down anymore, right? The quarterback has to stay healthy, and you can't let him take too many designed hits. Now, that being said, the myth that quarterbacks get hurt running the ball a lot is kind of like not true. But that's the way coaches think. Most quarterbacks, even the running ones, get hurt in the pocket. Lamar Jackson has famously only been hurt in the pocket. He's never been hurt running the ball, but that's also because quarterbacks just don't run the ball that often. But it does make sense because how often, like when wide receivers get injured, they aren't in the pocket, obviously. They are just trying to make a catch for a ball or they pull something running a route. When running backs get hurt, it's usually in the pile. Same thing with offensive linemen. A lot of injuries on the football field don't really happen when you get tackled as much as they happen in the open field, at least, as much as they happen in the box. You look at the most injured players in the NFL, it's usually D linemen, O linemen, and then linebackers. Like wide receivers usually don't get injured that much, or at least they shouldn't because they're not in the injury-prone situations. And usually corners don't, unless they get soft tissue. All right, here it's a pistol set. Sean drops back. And this is one that the wind took again. It's a good ball. Now, here's what I think was supposed to happen. This was on 4th down. And honestly, the same exact thing happened with Jacoby Brissett, which to me tells me that they're being too aggressive in these situations, right? Because when it happened with Brissett, I could say, hey, Brissett just took the corner route because he felt like he should. But remember with Brissett, what was going on was that David Njoku was on the out, and then they had a corner route up here that popped open, and then Jacoby took the corner. So I thought at the time he flipped it from 1-2 to 1-2. But I think what's happening instead is that this is 1 and that's 2. So that's a function of the offense, not the read. So if they feel like all things are 50-50, they're going to take this corner route. And so I think David runs a comeback. Hold on, it's not a comeback. So David runs a comeback curl to get the first down. And then I think David Bell actually runs a little bit of he's basically trying to block this window from this wide receiver. So he's just trying to hold his man in this area. He makes the mistake of drifting back towards David, which he shouldn't have done. And I think we get a corner route from DPJ here. And I think this is a function of the offense, right? He's told one-on-one at the top of the corner, you see the hips, just take it no matter what. Even if it's 4th and 2, take it no matter what, because he really should have threw to David here, who's open on this curl. Now, I think what probably gave DeShaun pause was 2 things. He saw Demario Davis running to close this gap, which, hey, if you're a little late here or a little low or the wind takes this thing in the wrong direction, that is going to be a pick 6. So I can understand why he went off of that into this corner. But I also think it probably in this situation, if you're seeing this linebacker chase, give Kareem Hunt a ball that he can stop and then cross his momentum. So he can get upfield because you're already seeing this run linebacker chase. Now, in the moment, he probably didn't read that was Kareem's man, or maybe he did and thought that was a better shot up here. But I think since this corner's out, right, because in his mind, he's seeing this guy run across this window. Kareem's about to run a flat. Instead, if you can have some kind of communication in the future, this is a future note, not like they should have did this in the moment. But in the future, if you see that situation again, Kareem or whoever that running back is should trust each other enough with DeShaun to break that off into a Texas or a corner route, right? Because you're basically in that concept. You have the curl here, you have the corner here. So now this middle field is open. You might want to make that an option for the running back to, hey, if you see this, turn this into a corner route. Instead, well, not a corner route, into a angle route. Because if he runs that, right, if he starts trickling into the flat here and then just cuts upfield, you got the first down and you got a big play there. So that's something that they can add as a wrinkle, right? You can add a halfback option route in there. Now, if you don't trust Kareem with that, you got to get personnel in there next year that you can trust with that, because you want these options, because you could have really caught DeMario Davis in a bad position here in the busted play if you had that option in there. Instead, you have to take this shot on this corner, and the wind took it, right? The deeper the ball's thrown, the more the wind's going to have control of it. You know, if it's blowing 36 miles per hour and you can only throw a football 25 miles per hour, just guess where that's going to go, wherever the wind wants it to. Okay, so this is a bad play call, in my opinion. And let me explain my bad play call process, right? Because I think too quickly we're willing to say something's a bad play call without really evaluating why. It's not a bad play call because it doesn't get completed. A lot of good play calls don't get executed. It's a bad play call because of what you're doing philosophically, which is, okay, so this is an option throw. So now you're putting your running back in a bad position to block. He ends up on this big-ass DN. And then what I like the least about it is, in order to create the deception, to create space, and I think they're trying to go underneath screen here or something to David Njoku. But what you end up doing is you split this field in half. Now DeShaun can only throw to this half of the field, and there's one guy who's a viable option. He's bracketed top and bottom, and then now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys sniffing this out. You're at a complete numbers disadvantage here. This was a deception play that they thought would work, that didn't. It's got to get out. Like, either you got to run it better so it does create that deception, or you got to throw this out the playbook entirely. Because who is this helping? DeShaun's in a terrible spot. Nobody's open. This is a fail play on third down, nonetheless. Yeah. Doesn't create the deception, because why in the world would you think anybody would bite on this end around with David Bell? Why? You ain't ran this all goddamn year. You think they're going to think you're going to do it on third and 18? On third and what, 5 or whatever it was? Nobody bought it, predictably so. The route that you were hoping on to be open in case somebody doesn't buy it, DPJ, gets completely jammed up, and there's nothing here. The best option you got is maybe David Njoku, who's like 15 yards across the body from DeShaun, across wind too. Like, nah, man, what are we doing here? This is a bad play call. It's not about run or pass. It's about how you do both of them. Too much we get caught into this whole runner pass. Did they run the ball enough? Did they throw a ball enough? It doesn't matter. It matters how you do it. You can do both fine. You can run 60 pass plays and you can win a football game. You can run the ball 60 times and you can win a football game. It's the situations you do it in, and it's how you do it that matters. We focus too much on the aesthetics of it and don't talk about the real issue here. All right, look at this goddamn wind, dog. I just put that in there so y'all can see the wind. What that wind did to that football was nasty. Yeah, look at this. The wind just absolutely kills the momentum of this football. Right? It's a little toss. And the wind, he's gotta learn to play with the wind. I think he learned a lesson there. All right, this one, DeShaun gets to the top of his drop and just makes a good throw there to Coop. Again, I think DeShaun played fine. I think he played relatively similar to how he played in Baltimore. Good feet, good throw. I thought he was good there. It's a great run by Chubb. Are we at the last drive yet? No. Yeah, we're at the last drive. So I think this is the last drive. So we can evaluate what went right, what went wrong here. I think what Jet Wills actually spurred this one loose. Yeah, just a good block here. I think, who's that? Joe Batonio? Good old Joe. Spurs that one loose. Then this one, I think they just ran the ball, start this off. Nick Chubb, did he run into somebody's back? Was there more there, though? Like, let's evaluate. Was there more there before I'm critical of his vision? Nah, he made the right cut. He read leverage on that DN. He knew that he was going to be chasing up. And he's just not agile enough to avoid that man. So he gets slowed up. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a consequence of him being big. He ended up getting the first down, though. Yeah, it's the right cut. So that's fine there. And then we get to this play. This looks like a throw. No, run. Okay, so this one just gets beat. I think Wyatt Teller. Wyatt Teller gets absolutely mauled. Yep. So Wyatt tries to get to second level. And 93 just sneaks in there. Was 93 off ball? And 93 was on Joel? No, 93 was on Jed. And then Jed gets beat inside. And then, yeah, so it was Jed that lost that one, I think. Somebody smarter than me can answer that, but it looks like Jed lost that battle. Right? Yeah, Jed. Oh, that's a tough angle, dog. Like, why did they ask him to do that? Oh, okay, because they're thinking that they're going to get this one. Okay, they're thinking they're going to be able to double team snatch it, and it never comes. Or why it's late. Yeah, why it's late getting there. So the chain reaction here is Wyatt's slow getting off his block because he couldn't get 99 where he wanted him to, which causes 93 to slink through, and that's the play. Okay, so that's what went down there. So it's both 77 to 71 at fault on that one. This is a read option. Good throw to David Njoku. He actually catches it. Extra bonus points for that. Just a basic read option concept, right? Pull, throw across. Here they start getting it going with the pass game. They run to Kareem. Kareem just, I mean, there was nowhere for him to go. There was just nowhere. He needed a first down. They got it. Yeah, just nowhere to go. He took what was there. And then gun, drop, 3-step. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of 5-step drops today, which tells me there wasn't a lot of design deep throws. Even though, well, what's the look? Yeah, he gonna want this one back. So when he gets to the top, this is pretty clearly, is this 2 or is it 3? I don't know. It looks like a coverage bust almost. Because it looks like it starts at 2. But then this outside DB carries like he's 3. Like he's in 3. Or maybe it's 6. Yeah, it looks like 6 actually. It's never mind. This is cover 6. Is it? Is it quarters top? Nah, this ain't 6. Okay, I'm not sure which coverage it's in, but I know for a fact that this half of the field is covered 2. Okay, because you have 3 underneath defenders, 1 deep. Over here, it looks like it's cover 6. It looks like cover 6 to me. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe DeShaun didn't read it. But I think he had this safety where he wanted him on this corner. Now again, it's windy, so in a normal game, I'm pretty sure this would be the normal read here. Split the 2 side of the field, take the 2 side and take a 2 shot in there, which is, hey, you isolated this safety and you put him in a little bit of a conflict here, right? You threw 2 underneath routes and cover 2 on this side, so that's going to be covered up. But if you can get him to bite, which, hey, his leverage is off already, you can kind of fit that behind him and get one there, especially when you're a special thrower to football. But I think the wind probably negated that choice, so he just ends up throwing one of those under straight into 2, which is a dangerous decision too. I wouldn't have minded if he would have underthrew that ball, but I could see the dilemma looking at the wind, right? That's a deep ball to throw into that wind, but I think David had his man. I think one-on-one David could have had that. Play right here. Another run to Chubb, and it gets stopped short. And what happens here is that Posick. That's Posick. Yeah, Jed does a good job here. Posick's supposed to pull, and this doesn't get done because of Posick, I think. Nah, Jed gets beat a little bit too inside. Jed's got to figure out why he gets beat inside so often. He's really good on the outside, but inside he gets beat. And when I say that, I'm talking about inside shoulder, not inside position. Ethan, no, he just gets dipped by by Demario Davis, who does a good job there. I mean, the whole line didn't win. David Njoku, I believe that is, getting beat. Yeah, nobody won here. There were no winners blocking for the Browns on this one. This is all Saints D-line domination, right? 92 gets that good push. 91 gets that good push. The 97 struggling a little bit. Yeah, 97 got dealt with by Wyatt. Wyatt did a good job there, but everybody else got beat. You can pick one to blame on that one. There's plenty of them. All right, so D. Wyatt drops back. Oof. I mean, it was there. It was there. Did it get blocked out, or did he drop it? Let's see. It appears to be a combination of both. I would say it's a good defensive play, but I feel like DPJ still could have had it. Yeah, and I think him slapping the ground, he knows he could have had that. But it's a beauty of a throw, though. Look at that win, crosswind and everything. Oh, come on, dog. It was open. Oh, the DB didn't even get a hand on this. This went in and out of your chest. Come on, dog. Reliable hands literally every other game of the year except this one. And it just, come on. I mean, the ball, like, to be fair, when it is as cold as it was on Saturday, that ball is hard as a rock. But damn, man, it don't make it any harder to watch, any less hard to watch. And I bet D-Watt was throwing that thing hard, too. All right, so they go pitch outside to Chubb. And Chubb gets a little bit here. Like 3 yards. Yeah, there's nothing really to complain about there. One gun. Almost gets sacked and drop. The story of today's game, dropped. Underneath ball. Big ass play here for Koo, right? Dropped. Yes, you have to move your body a little bit to catch it. But went through both your gloves, dog. You could have caught that. Talk about a big chunk play, get out of bounds. That's tough. I mean, look at it again. See, maybe the ball was a little bit out of place, right? Nah, that's right where it's supposed to be. Not to be fair, I know people are going to be like, well, he's from Florida, so it's hard for him to catch these balls. And then the Browns should draft more people from the north and all that. And, well, Donovan Peoples-Jones was dropping shit too all game, and he from Detroit. Like, nobody's used to catching the ball in negative 30-degree weather or whatever it was. Nobody. You just going to have this. Great catch there. Right? This thing ain't got nothing to do with where people are from. It has everything to do with that ball's cold. And I don't care where you're from. That ball hard to catch. Couldn't get the run game going, so you had to throw it. Like the wide receivers just had to man up and take the ball. Like, just is what it is. Yeah, Watson gets sacked here. I don't know if anybody won their rep on that one. Right here, drop back. Okay, I hated this choice in the game, but I get why. Because he couldn't see Njoku over the wall. He had no window. Njoku was there. But remember, you got to have a window to throw. That's the window. These guys are out. And this is a dangerous throw. Don't take that throw. So, yeah, I'm fine with that. I hated it in the moment, though. It's like, why would you even throw that? Just throw it out of bounds, to be honest. But I feel like he felt like he couldn't get it out of bounds without getting a grounding penalty, so he just took the loss. Because there was nobody on that sideline for him to throw it away to. Ooh. Oh, what a throw, what a catch. I mean, how many times have we said that in this review? Yeah, people trying to tell you DeShaun played bad are lying. I'm not saying he played great, but I mean, he still very much looked like DeShaun Watson. Just very cold DeShaun Watson, like weather-wise, but like he still looked like DeShaun. Look at this throw. Backside dig. Popped. And another one. Just beautiful throw to Michael. Was that David Bell here? Does a good job reading the defense pre-snap, knowing exactly where it's going to be open, and it just takes it and trusts it. We're basically they're in 2. So again, 2 is going to create some conflict here for DeMario Davis. You run one behind him, or you run one above him, and you just take what's there. Smart call. Good throw, too. All right, and these are the last 4 plays of the game for the Browns. First play here, drops back. No pressure. Nobody's open, though. Maybe Peoples-Jones, but maybe he didn't like the angle. Hold on, let me see. Top is dropped before he commits. Safety's playing his eyes, so I don't know. That's a tough one. The flat's not open. He just tried to give him a chance. The wind kind of took it too. And right here, I think this is the DPJ throw. Oh, DPJ, buddy. Now, is this a drop? Oh, it's a drop, man. He just mistimed it. I wasn't gonna give him a drop here because on TV it looked like, hey, that's a tough throw to catch to have, but he catches this thing before there's any contact and he just bobbles it. Oh, and he had feet in too. If he gets it right there, the first claps, he's good. I should have won the game right there. Yeah, it's a drop. It's a drop. I mean, how many drops? I think we're at like 6. I don't know how many are going to count officially because like what counts as a drop officially is like an egregious drop versus what we could see is like, hey, that felt like a drop. But yeah. He never steps out of bounds. And then right there, he collapses way too early. What happened there? Yeah, it's a great throw. Hell of a throw in those conditions. Not a catch. And then right here, I mean, the man doesn't get hell of a throw. Just doesn't get the ball. Top of his drop, gets it. Oh, it's right there. It is right there. It's literally in his chest right now. And maybe it was too fast and hard to grab in this weather. Build a dome, baby. That's a touchdown in the dome. This game we're on the road, the Browns would have probably won by like 20 points. And in this one, he just takes a sack. All right, so that was the game there. I think DeShaun played well, but his teammates didn't bail him out. When your teammates don't bail you out, turns a game you play well into a reason to say that you did not. Because it's easy to not watch the games and have an opinion on it. But that's it for this week's film breakdown. You guys have a great day. Have an even better night.